How about now? Did that fix that? Helps to turn the microphone on. See if that cures it. I see I've got volume here. Okay, good. So, yeah, happy Friday. Thank you, Bill, Ryan. Thank you for the heads up on the volume. I didn't have the microphone on. I thought I did, but it wasn't. So Bill and I were hoping to run his car Friday up at Orlando, and we got rained out again. So that seems to be the par for the course this time of year. Hopefully Sick Week is not going to be a rain-filled event. Time will tell. So I made a trip around Florida on Friday anyway, even though I didn't get the race. I did go to Orlando. And I'm going to get to Bill's question here in a minute. It was a really good question about if we need to have two programs for the same engine with different boost levels. So I'll show you what we do to fix that. Well, actually not fix it, but why it works with one tune. But yes, I made Friday. I had to go to Orlando anyway to pick up tires for the Vet Hawk, and I found a clutch up there. So I already planned to go up there and test with Bill. So I kind of pre-set up all these parts pickups, so I had to do it anyway. And ended up finding a guy in Cocoa that had a pair of Kirky race seats that had the same, matching pattern on the cushions and everything. So I picked them up for the NASCAR. That worked out real nice. So we got the clutch now for the NASCAR. We got seats for the NASCAR. I think I had mentioned I had tires and wheels the week before. So we're getting it along. I just need to get the engine parts. That's for some reason I'm getting a little held up on engine parts, but yeah, the rain's been crazy. I'm not going to try to jinx anybody. And I don't know if anybody saw, they announced on Facebook that Lutz is going to be running his Camaro this year. So that's going to be pretty cool. See if he can make it for the weekend. It doesn't. Tom hasn't had very good luck in the last 2 years running the Florida event. So see if Lutz has any better luck with that. But it was pretty cool. I thought it was going to be a wasted day because I had to go up to Orlando and miss that work out of the shop. And while I was riding around up there, I got a phone call from Larsen Motorsports. If anybody's seen the Jet Dragster show that they do, NMCA, NMRA, NHRA, Pink's All Out. She's been in all kinds of different events. She has a number of different dragsters. Anyway, they called up and needed 4 dragsters to be chassis certified. And lucky I always keep my certifying equipment in the truck. So I went and did that, and did another car in Vero on the way home. So the day was I made a little money on the day, even though I was out of the shop all day. So it kind of worked out cool. And it's funny, Mike mentioned last week that, how do you remember having the cameras, to take pictures? Well, of course, I did all the chassis cert and looked around their shop and everything and didn't get one picture. So it just goes to show you, if you're not thinking and on the ball, you miss good opportunities. But I did rob a couple pictures off the internet. Here's the pictures of Elaine, and I just remembered the other girl's name. But that's one of the cars I certified. The Florida Tech car. They had a Miller welding car I did. And the House of Color car. So, and one other backup car. So it was pretty fun checking those cars out and stuff. Of course, it was the first time I did a chassis cert on a dragster, jet dragster. So it took me a couple minutes to figure out what SFI specs and stuff I had to do, but we got it done, and it was a lot of fun. A whole lot better seeing the jet cars in their shop than on the drag strip. They were mentioning how a lot of bracket racers aren't fans, and there's nothing you can do about it. When they do all the flame show and smoke and everything, all that jet fuel, which is basically kerosene, refined kerosene and stuff. Probably not exactly right, but basically, it does get the track surface a little oily. So it is what it is. It's a show for the fans. We have to remember that the drag strips have to put a show on to get people in the seats, in the grandstands. Sometimes a regular bracket show isn't the funnest thing to sit and watch all night, but you throw in some jet cars or some exhibition stuff or some match racing, and it draws the crowd. So that was a good deal on Friday. And we worked on the trailer Saturday. Got my buddy Chuck helped me. We got the winch and all that stuff back in, so I was able to move all the cars around and get everything stored again. So it had a little room in the shop. But what I was gonna to answer Bill's question. Let's see. I need to go to I believe here. Yep. So to answer Bill's question, let me put my glasses on so I can see my screen. Open up our Holly EFI, and Bill, and let's see, where's our last tune on your car? Looks like to me one of these here. Yep, looks like this will be the last tune. I guess that was... Oh, no, here we go. Nope, it's got to be this one. This should be the last tune anyway. Doesn't matter, I can show you on any of them. So, the reason why we wouldn't have to write a second tune when you change the pulleys, Bill, because you're going to change pulleys, you're going to change the boost level. So let's just say with your street pulley, I think we were making around 12, 13 pounds of boost. So that should be right around here. So let me just put another line across here. Oh, it's not going to keep one. So this line would basically be vacuum, and then this starts boost, and we'll go up here. This will be your 12 pound, basically a 12 pound line. So this would be where all of our tuning is with the street pulley. Okay, so we still have all this room up here. So then when you put the AKA party pulley, which we all know that's going to be a lot of fun when we get that thing on there. And let's say it makes 18, 20 pounds of boost. That's going to put us right at about here. So this is all tuning we'd have to change for tuning. The only changes we'd have to make, because this section is going to be the same. No matter which pulley is on there, at this boost level, the fuel volume is still going to be the same. So this section from this line down would not change at all, changing the pulleys. Now, it will happen at a different point in RPMs, so we might have to just double check that, where it crosses as it's making boost, that section is good. But that's all we have to do is tune this section up here. And then if we were going to make more boost, if we were going to go to 30 pounds, that would be all the way up here to this top, up here. So if we were going to go to 30 pounds of boost, this was where this would be. So that's how you can make one tune will work with all of them. And same as a turbo car. I remember a turbo car, you got adjustable wastegates, so they can write different boost maps. So they don't have to change the tune. They just have to have the whole map tuned for what, or at least the sections that they're going to use. And same thing, they have a scramble button. So if they're going down the track with 15 pounds of boost and they're here and they hit their scramble button, they add 10, well then it's going to go up to here. So as long as that's tuned, you're all good. So that's how that's done. I see Bill says he's got it. I say good. So all we have to do is make a couple runs. That's the good thing, since we have most of the street tuning done. A couple runs with the high boost level, and I mean, I'll have the tune done before you have enough laps to get back into shape on the trans brake and all that, and get used to the new speed. I'm just kidding, but no, it'll be good. So I mean, worst case scenario, if we don't get another chance to get on the track, we hit the Sunday before sick week. That'll be fine. That'll get us in there. Kind of wanted you to get some more seat time, get acquainted with the new speed, but you know, Mother Nature's got other plans for us. So anyway, I'm definitely, everybody say a no rain prayer for sick week. That would make that event no fun. But that was a good representation of what we were doing there. So when we were putting air in the tires on the NASCAR, getting ready to put it in the trailer, I found this little insignia. This is actually stamped in the wheel next to the valve stem. I don't know if we can, you can kind of see the valve stem right, only that one. But so I've been chasing the history of this car down, and still haven't really came up with anything solid yet. But with all the talking I've done with other people in the past that worked on teams and stuff like that, and you know, more I learn about the NASCAR teams, the more things make sense. So from what we can tell, this is a you see the 193 in the smaller stamping, so that would typically stand for January of '93, and of course AK7 would be Alan Quickie, car number 7. So 3 of the rims on this car at least were from Alan Quickie Racing, and you can kind of tell that because you can't tell from the picture, but the tires have dual valve stems, so they had interliners in them. I don't know if they still run those or not, but somebody did mention on Facebook that looked like an old wheel design that they don't run anymore. So again, that kind of goes along with it. And I posted some more pictures up on Facebook on some of the groups, and now I have made contact with 2 guys that worked at Leading Edge Race Cars, where this car was rebodied, and the guy I talked via Facebook this week was saying how that they actually rebodied a few cars for Matty Racing, Matty Motorsports, which was the owner of the team after Jeff Bodine sold him his percentage, I guess. So and that guy from Leading Edge said that all the cars that they sent were old Alan Quickie cars. So I still don't have any proof that this car was one of them, but pretty cool nevertheless. Really doesn't make much difference to what I'm doing. It just kind of, curiosity. I just want to know what, you always look at a car and go, wonder what you went through. How did you get this dent there, and how did this happen, and how did you get that? How'd that scratch happen? And some things obviously aren't as important, but to see where the car came from, just like anybody taking the build sheet out of a car and finding out what plant it was made and what the date was and stuff like that. It's just interesting. So that's what I keep going over with that car, trying to figure that stuff out. And who knows? I'll probably never find out, but it's interesting nevertheless. And another guy Stapleton 42, I think is what his YouTube channel is. He kind of does a lot of interviews with Cup drivers and trying to video log all the, all this information from racers like Martin and stuff like that, who are no longer racing now. So try to get all this information up before they get too old. And he's already reached out to me wanting to buy the car if it's a Alan Quickie car. So he'll have to wait until I'm done with it. But nevertheless, all the things I'm going to do to the car, putting it on the street and putting the LS engine and all that stuff, none of those things are going to interfere with the history side of the chassis anyway, because the body would have to come off and be redone with a Thunderbird body to make it a legit Alan Quickie car, for memory's sake or for historical sake. So anyway, that's a little tidbit I found this week, trying to go through and let you guys know what I did this week. So we had one car come back to the shop that I worked on a while ago, Scott Skylark. Here's a little video I made on that. 63 Buick Skylark. Put this car together a little while ago. Back in getting some small repairs done. We weren't able to drive this one and get the mileage on it like I'd like to, so have some small repairs we had to do. Got a nice stance to it. Really good looking car. It's got an original 216 aluminum V8 in it. Not the original for this car, but it is an aluminum motor. It's got a 300 crank in it, so it's stroked to 266. We did all the plumbing. Custom radiator, built the fan shroud, built the hydro boost mounts for it, cleaned up all the wiring, and I even built brackets so we could have an alternator and AC compressor. Made the patterns and had those all laser cut. Got an Offie intake with the sniper on it. 700 R4. Got a G-body 8.5 rear end in it. 4-wheel disc brakes. Nice cruising car. It's got real nice leather interior. Didn't come in this car's factory, but Scott, my buddy, had those all done. Right now we still have the dash cluster out of it, or portions of it out anyway. But real nice, clean car. Yeah, thanks, Bill. So these cars were built 61, 2, and 3. These were unibody cars. It was kind of weird. Buick, Olds, and Pontiac each had their own cars. Buick had the Skylark and a Special. Oldsmobile had the F85, and the Pontiac was the Le Mans. Now, my buddy Scott, if you guys have seen on the channel, we drove to Columbus last year, and he drove his Le Mans. So the Pontiac, those cars were 4-cylinder, which was half of a 326 V8, had the V8 head and everything on it, and a custom block, and it had a rope drive to a Corvair transaxle on the back. And those are the ones that DeLorean was making all the hot rods in the background, so he put the 4-cylinder in there, showed all the GM heads, and then went ahead and put a 326 in it because it already fit. Half of it fit anyway. So, and they did some stuff with the 2 power glides. I don't know how they stacked that together, but so that's, Scott has his with the C5 chassis because he wanted to have a transaxle in the back as it was originally built. This car and the F85s featured that 215 aluminum V8 that GM played around with for a couple of years until they sold it to Rover, and Rover actually used it all the way up into the 2000s. But it's a clean little car. My buddy Scott is a person that likes to have everything look like it came from GM. It may not have been from GM, but he wants it to look like if GM had thought about it, they would have done it. So, he likes Hydro Boost, so we built a Hydro Boost unit, but used all that. In the inside of the car, he likes under dash air conditioning because those cars didn't have air conditioning from the factory, and but he doesn't like the knobs, the control knobs and stuff on there. So I retrofitted the cigarette lighter. That is actually the blower fan switch to turn the air on and off, and then the 3 fan speeds. So that's how do little things like that. As Le Mans, I used the Corvair Power Glide shifter on the dash and connected it to the 4L60 trans. It's got knockoff Buick special wheels on it, so stuff like that. It's a nice clean car. It's not a hot rod by any means, but it's one of his fleet. So yeah, with the side panels, it does kind of resemble a Falcon. You're right, but. So we were working on that. I did some work on the Sniper, working on a new video for the Sniper about file transfers and stuff like that. So I was using that car for that. And like I've said in the past, I like to put 100 miles on the cars before they leave. But Scott wanted to have the dash redone. Like the steering wheel is, if you look at it, hard to see in the video, but it's casted perfectly, no cracks or anything. That's because he sent it out and had it recasted. And this car actually had a compass on top of the dashboard. It was a little bullet that sat up on top of it next to the speaker, and we had originally put the car together with a temp gauge in there. Well, he decided he wanted to just eliminate it, so we took the dash pad out, sent that out, and had that recasted. So being it was going to be the parts were going to be out for a while. It actually took about 6 or 8 months to get that done. I went ahead and took the car back over to his place, let him store it, which then, now he's been driving it around. He's got a little punch-out list, and I'm like, yeah, well, I didn't get a chance to drive it properly, so yeah, there will be a punch-out list. So we worked on the Sniper tuning and got a couple little things straightened out on it, and coming along good. So that should be leaving tomorrow, and we got some transmission work we have to do. Unfortunately, the transmission and the Hydro Boost and the engine, for that matter, were all stuff that he had bought used, and so the transmission's got a couple little quirks we got to straighten out. So we're gonna have to pull it out, and the Hydro Boost is leaking, so we're gonna replace that. And the engine he bought off eBay, believe it or not. And it's got a rear main leak in it, so we're gonna go ahead and send it back over to his place, put it up on his lift at his house, and I'll get those pieces done over there, so it's not tying up what we're doing over here. So, but that was something we played around with this week. When we were in, and I don't think I got it on the Columbus video, but when we were in Columbus at the Good Guys show, there was actually an F85 there. And in the Oldsmobile line, they actually mounted a turbo, draw-through turbo on that same engine. So it had a carburetor on the inlet of the compressor, and then it blew into the intake manifold. They had a big tank in the reservoir on the driver's side that was actually filled with alcohol water mix, meth mix, like a windshield washer, antifreeze type windshield washer fluid. It won't freeze. It's got alcohol in it. So you would use that. That was they called it jet fuel, so to keep the motor from detonating, because it was carbureted and they didn't have all the sophisticated equipment that we have nowadays with computer controlled timing and map sensors controlling boost and all that kind of thing. So but it was really cool to see one of those cars in live. Like Bill said, you don't see these things very often. In fact, Scott has ran into that with the Le Mans. Most people don't even understand what the car is, because you think of a Le Mans, you're thinking 64 up, full frame cars, where these cars were unibody. And it was pretty funny. They actually used quite a bit of Corvair stuff. The windshields from a Corvair, the firewalls from a Corvair. I think the front suspension, the cradle and stuff, is all originated, or at least partially originated, from Corvair parts. So it's like, GM had all these parts laying around, and of course Nader got them to shut down the Corvair program. So I guess they just figured, well, we'll put them on these cars and use up what we got, or whatever. I don't know what they were thinking, but it's a pretty cool car. It's odd. Nobody, you don't really see many of them around and anything, so it's fun. But that was something, getting that thing squared away. And of course, I haven't gotten to drive Joe's car much yet because of the rain. Rain, and it's all we've been having lately is rain. But we're gonna get it done, get it going here, and keep moving forward. So the one thing I did, and I'm gonna show you guys, I kind of I'm hesitant to show it because the shop is still such a mess, but I did do a walk around the shop, and it is a mess. I had it cleaned up Saturday, but the shop was full of cars, and then by now tonight when I did the walk around, of course I've been working, and so things are all messy already again. I can't believe how quickly it happens. But we worked on the trailer on Saturday after we cleaned. So, of course, we had all the tools out at the trailer. We brought them all in, threw them on the bench, and never really got back to cleaning them and stuff. So, anyway, without further ado, here is a little video of the shop. So, as usual, the shop's a mess, but I figured it better go ahead and do a walk around anyway. So, got Dave's Chevelle up on the rack, starting to do the wiring and other things we need to do, plumb the AC and stuff like that. Doing some finish up work on Joe's Camaro. So we'll get the old slap sink, old parts cleaner. Got this workbench I built, which still has some Chevelle parts on it. Storage underneath for jack stands and metal and whatever. And there's the parts that we're working on for the Chevelle. Kind of a mess right now. Racks with test equipment. Another rack of chemicals. There's the balcony where I'm slowly but surely getting everything divided up into bins, so extra parts and things are easier to get. And the rest of that is all project parts, stuff like that. Chop saw on the ground, completely messed fab table, TIG welder, press, my lathe that needs to be cleaned, and storage bins. I'm slowly getting off my taps and dies and specialty hardware all labeled and listed on there. Got a belt sander with a bunch of material laid up against it. Panishing hammer, T-jack stand, milling machine, trans jack, bandsaw, drill press, TIG rod, all different sizes and types for steel, chromoly, aluminum, titanium, silicon, bronze. bead roller. Got an English wheel there. And right down there, we got sheet metal brake. Horizontal bandsaw. Of course, we got Chuck's engine. There's a little rack underneath the upper deck that holds all the sheet metal sheets. Toolboxes, engine assembly boxes for micrometers and such. Way dirty workbench. 427 engine for the Vethawk project. And bins with clips and all type of wiring terminals and nuts, bolts, screws, clips, bulbs. And got grade 8 bolt rack. Little refrigerator. Got my TV up top, so stuff going on. My new double screen display for doing the live shows and editing film. And my desk. That's pretty much it. That's the shop. Yeah, so that's the I forget. Cars I drove and raced, friends' cars, stuff we built over the years. Of course, I got photo albums full of cars and stuff that never made it to the wall. All in due time. So, as usual, the shop's a mess, but I figured... Yeah, Bill, you're right. I wish I could have another shop. Unfortunately, the county, this is as big as we can go. But that's why almost all the equipment is on wheels. That whole back corner is stuffed back there with all the equipment, and got to roll it out, use it, and roll it back in, put it away, and definitely not enough storage. Although we get more and more stuff done, especially with Dave's car, that's opening up more space and stuff for components and stuff like that. It was definitely a mess. I apologize for the mess. I try to be better organized than that, but you know, it is what it is. Busy working all the time. You know, I'd have a super clean shop if I had nothing to do, but unfortunately I have way too much to do. But that's the kind of the gist of what's going on down here. You saw in the video the two screens. That's why I look like I'm looking up a little bit more, because I've got everything split on two different screens now, so I can see what's going on, and it's worked out real well. I don't know if anybody caught. I know Ryan caught the Vethawk Part 2 video, and unfortunately, a lot of that video was done, you know, probably 6-8 months ago. So there was a bunch of it when I was going back through it. I'm like, oh, I wish I had, you know, a couple adjustments there, and I wish I had filmed that, or, you know, whatever. So it took a little bit of time to get it all pieced together to where, you know, looked halfway decent and showed, you know, our progress that it made on it. But one thing I was getting at was with the two screens that I have now, I can put my editing software on the bottom screen, and I can put all my files on the top screen, and I can do it piece file by file. So typically with the editing software, you put all your clips into the one portion of the editing software, and then you drag them down to your timeline, and you know, adjust and cut and splice and modify in the timeline. Well, what happened is I'd have a lot of, you know, 30-second, 1-minute clips, and you really, by the thumbnail, I don't label them all with a name, and then sitting with just a little thumbnail that they give you, you really can't tell what it is. So you'd end up going back and forth, dropping clips in, go, oh no, I don't want that one, or you drop one or two in, and then you go, oh man, I forgot about that one. Then you gotta, back up to where you were, add that back in, and it just made the editing, for me anyway, very tedious. I'm no, I have no clue what I'm doing, but with the second screen now, I can put all the clips in their folders up there, and I can open them up individually, see what's in them. Then I can kind of move them around to the order I want and drop them into the editing software, and then drop them into the timeline. It just speeds it up. So typically, I think the part 2 video ended up being about maybe 15 minutes long, something like that. And that would typically take me about 6-7 hours to get that to look halfway decent. And actually, I was very surprised. Sunday morning, I came out and got started on that, and I was actually finished it in 3 hours. So that's huge, huge time saver. And I can't wait. That's why I'm going to go ahead and try to get this sniper video out this weekend, and try to get more content on the channel besides these live shows. The live shows are fun. I hope, we get to all, do a little bench racing and whatnot. But you want content for people searching for answers, and that's what I want to do with this new line of EFI tunes videos I want to come out with. The first one being the sniper one, and it's all going to be about firmware updating and file transferring and data logging. Whenever I want to do a remote tune, I have to explain to the person that's got the car or has the unit how to do all this stuff, and sometimes it takes a while till they get it figured out and stuff. Or now, once the video's done, they can just watch the video, they can stop it where they're at until they figure out how to do what the function that they're going to do, the thing that they're going to perform. And it should make it easier for everybody, and it be informative. So that's what I'm going to work on now, and I'm going to do one same thing, firmware and file transfer on the Terminator on Joe's car before it leaves, and then we'll start doing some tuning videos too. So I did get a bunch of data logs on Scott's Skylark today, and fixed some issues with that, and that was good. A lot of the stuff that I did on his car was the same stuff we had talked a couple weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago now, with Daniel's Mustang. He's got sniper on his car, and he had a lot of the same type of complaints or issues, stalling, coming up to lights, getting the tuning straightened out. One thing I did learn today that I wasn't aware of was on Holly Terminator, Terminator X, HP, and Dominator. If you make a AFR change, when you go back to your base fuel map, it does a background, or it makes a change to the fuel map for the changes that you made. I assume Sniper did that also, and it does not, because I took the original handheld tune, which had the AFRs were very rich, and I made some adjustments, made it run really clean like that, and then I came in and was working on the idling and the stalling, and decided, well, I better go ahead and fix all the target AFR tables, and when I did, it totally changed the main tune. So a lesson learned there. The Sniper does not have the sophistication that the other systems have. I assumed that the software was all fairly close to the same, but I can tell you, as a matter of fact, they are not. So, but no foul, no harm. It just takes a second to correct that. And that's one of the other nice things about what I'm doing now with the dual screens. Is I want to show you guys something. I see John's on. Hey, John, how you doing? One thing with my dual screens now, if I wanted to show something on my desktop, in the past we would still have some of the software on there, but now I can go into here, and now we can, we can open up a program, and it's not being interfered with the with the program for doing the live show or the YouTube Studios app. That's all on the second screen now. So now I can go through and, I need a calculator or whatever, or my calendar. I can use these for the live feeds, and it doesn't interfere with what we have going on. So I think that's going to work out really good. Yeah, we're doing good, John. We were just talking about the, I did a little walk-around video of the shop, as trashed and messy as it is, but I was showing that I now have 2 screens at my desk, and how I'm able to use that and speed up some not tuning, but editing for videos and stuff like that. And we're talking about the Vet Hawk Part 2 video that I just put out last Sunday. I hope all you guys get a chance to take a look at it. I think it good representation of where we're at with the car now. I'm going to go ahead and, when Joe's car leaves and I have some more room in the shop, I'm going to go ahead and put an order in for roll bar tubing. And in the walk around, when I was panning around the bead roller and the sheet metal brake, I realized when I was watching the video with you guys that the shrinker stretcher was down there, and also my roll bar hydraulic bender was sitting back there, and mention those. Not that that's important, but it's kind of giving everybody a feel of what we have in here. Oh, thanks, Ryan. Which one are you talking about, the Vet Hawk or the walk around? Well, the video, hopefully it was the Vet Hawk. And I saw you. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, you've seen it. You and Bill have seen it in real life. Actually, Bill's quite accustomed to the shop since he did all the electrical work here. So, thank you, Bill, for all that. Sorry about that. Lost my train of thought. But yeah, I want to get the roll bar tubing and stuff in here, and then hopefully within the next month or so, put a couple days on that and bang out a bunch of the chassis work on it. See, Mario's in. It's going to be a super, and my eyesight is getting bad. Sorry about that. It's going to be super sweet. I can't wait till it's done. Things going to fly. Yes, sir. That is my hope. We talked about this before in some of the other shows. It was kind of in my mind, a clean sheet of paper design. I surfed the web looking for what would be a really great chassis that was already good to start with, and it could be upgraded from there. And obviously the C4 came to mind. It's a short wheelbase car. It for the longest time held the highest cornering G load of any production built car. So I mean, that kind of was a no-brainer at that point. And I've always had a affinity for the H-body cars. I had a Vega and a Monza when I was a young guy, and always loved those cars. The old Grumpy Jenkins Vegas, and just all the cars you've seen. And then of course the Decon IMSA GT cars, and it just kind of all worked out because I'm thinking, okay, the vet chassis is going to be wide. Do I narrow the chassis? What do I do there? And I decided, well, why not just do a wide body? Kind of fell in place because I started doing some research and found that you could still buy body kits. So once the body kits once that was there, it became a no-brainer at that point, because now I can run the offsets I want to run, and of course it's going to have the wide track. Remember the old Pontiac commercials, Pontiac wide track. Mary says, I love the wide body. Got a Monza coupe myself. Oh, awesome. Yeah, they're fun cars. And I used to have I had a 2+2 fastback. Had I was probably 20 years old. I had the gold and chrome Kreger SSTs on it. Man, I was hitting. Fun car. But I actually did. I forgot all about that at the local college, FAU. Which was an old airstrip from World War II. They did have autocrosses there a couple of times before I even really realized what they were and what it was all about. And I actually ran a couple with that car there. Of course, with the 4-cylinder and the automatic, it wasn't the best suited, but and it had it had a lot of negative camber in it because the way those cars spread as they get older. And at that point, I was a pretty young man and didn't really have the foresight how to fix that. But it was a fun car nevertheless. And so now we'll get to relive all that, but have a really proper road car to do whatever it is that I want to do with the car. I mean, definitely going to autocross it. I wouldn't mind doing some driving drags with it. Of course, power tour, stuff like that. It's definitely going to be a multi-purpose vehicle. And I wish I could just stay working on that and just get it knocked out, but my parts list is pretty large on it, and unfortunately a lot of the parts that I'm picking for the car have a pretty nice price tag on them, so it's going to take a little time, and I'll just keep fabricating as the parts come in, and we'll get it knocked out in due time. And that's kind of where the NASCAR is going to kind of fill that void in the meantime, because that I should be able to have that car assembled and on the road within a week's time, a couple weekends in a row, and get that done, get up to DMV and get that done. I don't think it's hard to remember what I've shown you guys on the live shows every week, and I don't know if I showed you guys the headlight deal, but for the NASCAR I got a set of Ford Taurus headlights, and I thought, boy, wouldn't that be neat if the the stickers on the body were fairly close to the real thing, and if the nose cone had a similar shape to it. So I don't remember which car show I saw it on. Very, very possible it was on Bitch and Ride's Can Dig It shop, but they needed to get a shape of a piece and replicate it. So I saw that they used masking tape, and they mask tape. So I masking taped up the headlight, did a crisscross on the tape to get a good pattern and get it thick. Took a razor knife, trimmed it to the edge of the glass, and then carefully peeled it off, and it did have the shape of the the original headlight. Took baby powder and put it all over the back of it and got rid of all the glue, and laid it up against the front of the car, and wouldn't you know that the headlight sticker on the car is maybe 1/8 all the way around bigger than the actual headlight that I have for it. And it seems that the contour is going to fit real nice, so I'll be able to glue the headlights into that front end fairly simple. Mario says it adds up, the parts add up fast. They do. I mean, the body kit was, I think the body kit ended up being like $5,000, and and I've got tires for it this weekend. I went to Orlando and picked up tires, although they are Falcon RT660s, 315s. I'm gonna do 315, 3018s all the way around, and they're used. But between the two that Chris gave me and the 4 I've got there, I got something that I can actually put the car on the road with, so now I can go ahead and start figuring out rims, get the rims for the car. Of course, I'm saving up to get the Hillborn LS3 IR intake manifold for it. That's going to look good. Anybody that knows anything about the original Decon IMSA GT cars, they ran a Hillborn mechanical injection on a lot of those cars. Probably a lot shorter stacks than I'm going to run, but they were running a 5-speed, and they were looking for max RPM horsepower, I'm going to use a little taller stack to make a real broad power band, but it should come out real good. And then eventually, I don't have to do this before. Well, I do have to do something with the rear end. As anybody knows, C4 Corvettes do not have a very strong differential in the back. One thing is to go ahead and do a Dana 44 C4 housing, but they do crack and the caps do come off of those. The next thing being that I don't have to use the truss that goes from the transmission to the rear end. I can do a first gen Viper, a Dana 44, which still uses the dry shafts and everything before they went to CVs, and that's a little stronger differential than the Corvette one, and probably a little cheaper to buy. And if I got my, on my wish list is a hammerhead differential, which a guy in Michigan started making back in 2012. A couple of the chassis guys, Detroit Speed uses them, Speed Shop uses them, and it's actually a completely new case. It uses all 12-bolt GM car gears in it, so the 8.875 gear set, and with the spline, so you can use a 30 spline on the CV or the dry shaft yokes. And the way the guy created the case, originally he did it just for C4, but then they saw the need for late model Corvette, Challenger, and Charger, so the casting comes with all the different mounting points on it, and then they machine off whatever isn't used for whatever application they're going to use. So that is my holy grail rear end I'd like to put in the car. However, the gentleman that designed it passed away, and his son, who is a automotive writer, I think he's in Tennessee, is trying to keep the company running, but I haven't seen any new production pieces, and I haven't even gone there yet. But I need to call my buddy Dan at Detroit Speed and see. I don't know if they're using the tooling and making their own castings now, because they're still selling them, or did they just get a large lot of them and they're just going through them as they go through. So I was going to see if they would sell me a bare case. I don't really want to buy a complete case from anybody, because I can do the gear sets and all that stuff myself, since paying somebody else to do all that, and of course get all the parts wholesale. So we'll see. I'm not really concerned about that right now. I'm still a long ways away from needing that. So, but that's the thing. Between that diff and then RideTech makes a coilover kit with the four-way adjustable coilovers and bushings and trailing arms and stuff, which makes the car even better, a C4 chassis even better than it was before. Of course, that's another $5-6 grand. So. And we still got to get all, paint and interior and blah, 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 blah. Listen to me go on about that thing. But anyway, but that's what, that's why that car is going to be more of a long-term project. It's definitely going to be my keeper car. I don't think that car will ever see a for sale sign, because it's it's a clean sheet build in my head. I know exactly what I want. I know exactly how I want it to come out. So, it may be a bunch of different projects. It may, keep evolving as it goes along, but it will be a lot of fun when we get it running. See, hey Jay, see Jay's on. This is Jay with the '94 red single cab silver. Oh yeah, with the 5.3 in it. I replaced all my coils with Excel and header back with X pipe. Should I come see you to adjust the tune? Really, if the coils shouldn't have made any adjustments, because it's just just put a better coil in than the GMLS coil. The headers and the catback or header back H pipe or X pipe. Again, that's really not going to make a lot of changes, except for the fact that if you had headers leaking before, obviously the self-learning would see the leaks, see it as a lean exhaust, and probably would add fuel to the tune. But I've already, when you were here last, we've already knocked down the amount of adjustment the short term or the closed loop and learning can do. So obviously it wouldn't be so bad it would foul the plugs. But what we could do is I'm going to be putting a video out. I don't know if you were on the show earlier, but I'm putting a video out for Sniper, which is basically going to work the same as the Terminator program, and I will be doing a Terminator in the future, on how to do a data log and how to extract the file and send the file. So keep an eye out for that, because that would be an easier way for you if you want to do that. You could do a data log, then you could capture the global file, and then you could just email me the global file, and I could take a look at it, make adjustments, and send it back to you. Yeah, no hurt, no harm in wanting to be sure about that. So that's the thing that why I'm doing that. Even though you're relatively close, you're not right next door, but that's why I'm making these files, because we get people from all over the country calling me up to look at tunes and stuff, and there's plenty of remote tuners all over the country. So this is just going to be a good program that somebody can take a look at and then know how to do a firmware update, data log, and global calibrations, put the files in and out of the handheld, and send them so that you can do that. Jay says he doesn't mind the drive, gives me an excuse to go for a cruise. Yeah, so get with me. Obviously this week with all the rain, I'm way behind. But possibly next week you could take a ride up. I mean, it's not going to take but 15-20 minutes to take a look at it and maybe make some adjustments and see everything's working. I think we did have an issue with your handheld losing power, so we might want to look at that. I don't know if that came back on. So that'd be one thing for sure we want to check out. And if your handheld isn't powering back up, well, then it's not going to help you any with the file with the video I'm about to release, because you won't be able to do anything with the handheld anyway. But yeah, in that case, it probably wouldn't hurt for you to take a ride up, and we'll take a look at it. So that's kind of the stuff that's going on. We're gonna no, not yet. It's still off. So you're not going to be able to load any files or anything in that because you need it to be functioning. So what we're going to have to do, mess with it. Yeah, we're going to have to get in behind that glove box and see where that power wires are coming from. So I know you got some dash issues there, so keep that in mind that when you come up, we're going to have to get into that stuff. So I know we were having issues with the radio and all that stuff, so just kind of bear that in mind, and we'll both of us keep that in mind, and we'll have to allow enough time to be able to do all that. I see Chris is on. I understand the 3-way coilovers. What's the difference? 4-way coilovers, is it new? No, Chris. So basically, a regular coilover obviously has valving in the coil. Any shock has valves in it. And you have a single adjustable, which will do compression and rebound in one knob. So as you're clicking that knob, you're stiffening and softening rebound and compression at the same time. Depending on how the valve stack was made when they tuned it, would determine how that single adjustable would make it. They don't adjust equally. A lot of times the rebalance side will adjust faster than the compression side. So then you go to a two-way adjustable, which is what a double adjustable, which is what most people use. And now all that does is separate the compression and the rebound. Now you can leave rebound at one spot and soften or stiffen compression, or vice versa. Leave compression where you want, soften or stiffen rebound, or a combination of all of them. A QA1 shock, one that I use a lot, I think between with the single adjustable, you have basically 12 site adjustment sites. So you have 12 positions that screw would adjust the valving. Then you go to a double adjustable. Now you've got 12 and 12. So that all together, from extreme to extreme, extreme soft to extreme stiff, you have 256 points of compression, of change. I'm sorry. Then you go to a three-way. When the three-way has a nitrogen reservoir that comes off of the shock. So all your shocks, most shocks, well, let me rephrase. All shocks have oil for valving. Some will have nitrogen and oil. So a three-way shock would then have a nitrogen reservoir with a service port on it where you can adjust the pressure of the nitrogen in the shock. That gives you your third point of adjustment. And then the fourth point of adjustment is they will have a high-speed control knob on the canister. So now you have your two-way double adjustable knobs on the shock itself, and that's giving you your normal shock adjustment. The nitrogen pressure is basically like a high-speed control because you can ramp up the nitrogen pressure, which makes the shock act different at high velocity rates. With a fourth adjuster, now you have an adjusting knob to help control that. So it's just not the shock plus the nitrogen pressure. It's shock plus nitrogen nitrogen pressure in the canister plus a tuning knob on the canister also. So that's the ultimate shock. Of course, it's above most people. It's above me. But being I'm a data junkie, and I have the Holley Dominator going in the Vet Hawk, I'm gonna have four corner shock sensors on the car, along with steering input sensors, power steering pressure sensors, brake pressure sensors, all kinds of stuff. So with the shock travel sensors, I'll be able to make a math channel in my data log and see the velocity of the shocks, and then hopefully learn how to adjust the shocks. I mean, I got a pretty good handle on the double adjustable, and that's where most people are great with that, are good with that. The four-way adjustables just gives a pro driver or a pro chassis guy the opportunity to really fine-tune that suspension to the nth degree. And I want to learn how to do it. And if I'm lost or the car isn't doing what I want, I can always hire somebody to come and do a shock tuning session with me and learn from what they're doing. So that's kind of why I'm doing that. And I got to buy the coilovers anyway, and it's only about, I think it's about $1,000 difference. So I'm going to spend probably close to $2,000 for coilovers, and add an extra $1,000 or $800, and I can have the ultimate shock and try to learn how to use them. But it's getting crazy. All with computers and with microprocessors, all this stuff is getting so crazy. Viking has a shock now that it's a four-way adjustable, and they actually have a program that you can write the program, and then it sends it to the shocks and adjust them for you. So you could, and I'm sure they've probably doing it for their in-house guys. They probably are taking a data acquisition and feeding it to the microprocessor that's controlling the shock so that it could make its own adjustments. I don't know if they're doing that yet, but I mean, it's only a matter of time till that is available. I mean, we have self-tuning fuel injection. Why can't we have self-tuning shocks? So who knows what will happen down the road, but I want to learn how to do that. I've always adjusted shocks for drag cars, and I tune shocks on the 50. Unfortunately, with the 50, we had suspension inadequacies as far as roll centers and stuff, so I couldn't really super fine tune the shocks as good as I wanted. I got to a certain point, and it just didn't make any more adjustment, any change, because that car picked up, if you drove it hard into the corners, it picked up a push because the roll center was incorrect. So I tried adjusting it. I got a little bit out of the shocks to help that, but it wasn't enough. That was one of the reasons why I said, well, maybe a four-way would be better. But obviously, first thing is to have the suspension roll centers correct in the first place. Have a chassis that's actually designed correctly. And with my 50, I bought a subframe from somebody to put the C5 Corvette suspension on, and obviously their engineering and designing was more for looks than anything else, and I just never got around to I charted it on the ground and knew where it was and was able to put it in a program and make adjustments and to correct it. So I knew what I needed to do, but I just never did do it. I needed to move the frame mounts for the lower control arms up 1.5 inches, and then that became a little bit of a problem because then it got real tight with the rack, and the rack was already tight to the frame, so I had to notch the frame. And then I wanted to lower the uppers on the frame down 1/2 inch, which that was easy. All I had to do there was drill a new hole. But I just never did take that opportunity to do that. When I got my shop done, I had to go right to work. So I wasn't able to put the car up on the rack and tie it up for a couple weeks while I was making all those adjustments. So it never got done, and I lived with it the way it was. And not to say it was bad, the car was still pretty fast on autocross. It just wasn't as good as it could have been, especially when I was always chasing John Roberts around with his Super 7. There's no way in heck I could ever catch that thing. And some of the newer Corvettes and Mustangs, when we'd run in the V8 class, if the driver of those vehicles was pretty good, then I had my hands full trying to catch them. But it was definitely a top 3 contender most nights at PBI or on the autocross track. So nothing to be ashamed about, especially with the cars with a high CG as high as that was, and a long wheelbase. That car was 112-inch wheelbase. Again, not something that's, perfect for autocross. You really want a shorter wheelbase. Of course, on a long course like we were running at PBIR and even at LS Fest at the National Corvette Museum, those were pretty long courses. That wheelbase didn't hurt that bad. But when you get into a short track, or you go to like a Good Guys where you're in a tight parking lot and every turn is a 180 hairpin turn, then that wheelbase really showed its inadequacies. But for track days and stuff like that, that's fine. The longer wheelbase actually is kind of good for the high speed areas. It's a lot more stable than the short wheelbase stuff. So you always have a trade-off. There's always a trade-off with whatever you're doing. But moving along, we're getting stuff done. We get Joe's car done. Hopefully I can get a couple days this week with no rain to get that thing finished up. I want to get a video of the car, the walk around. I need to start doing some more of those walk around videos. I'll go ahead and I got some portions for the Skylark. I'm still not done enough that I'd really get a whole one done, but I'll check and see where I gotta go back through the archives and see what I have for videos on that car when I was building it. And I want to do a video here soon on the NASCAR, get it up on a rack so we can get some under car video and a pile of all the parts and I'm having a problem with getting the piston kit for that thing, I may go ahead and put a dummy block in there and just double check the motor mounts and all that stuff, make sure all that's going to fit in quickly, so we can get that stuff done. But we'll see. Time will tell. Every day we have rain, it just puts me back farther and farther behind on everything that's in the shop now. So I still got Dave's car, which I haven't really got a whole lot done to yet. So my list of work is way long. But I can't believe we're nearing 30 live shows. I would have never thought it would happen so fast. Obviously, it only takes 30 weeks to do it, but it seems like I just did the first one a couple days ago. So I hope you guys are enjoying them. Try to put together some tech stuff for next week. I was going to do the sniper stuff from the Skylark, but we've already covered the sniper stuff with Daniel's car. We actually went over his tuning a couple shows in a row, so I felt it was just kind of be going over the same stuff we've already gone over. So I'll try to put together a Terminator X system from Joe's car, which will show something new. We'll have transmission tuning on that. So we'll go over that stuff, and of course, all the Holly stuff applies to other Holly stuff. So it'll still be, or any EFI stuff for that matter. Your tables and may have different names on them, and it may take different ways of doing, performing the same adjustments, but they're all doing the same thing. So even a stock ECU, like in Chris's car, the transmission tuning and stuff is still the same thing you would do. Well, of course, this is manual, but if it was an automatic, it's still the same processes. So we'll just keep moving along. I see Ryan sent me some more videos on the truck. Can't wait till you get some color on that thing and you can show the world that truck, man. That thing is coming out great. And he did mention that he saw the Vet Hawk video, and he was very interested to see my car on the ground since his car is still on a jig. So it's hard to, and he's right, it is very hard to visualize ride height when the car's on a jig, especially on a I-beam style jig. I had one of those in the past. They're great for putting frames together and stuff. In fact, when I had my jig, I was at the time when I was racing the dwarf cars or modified light stock cars, and we used that jig all the time for straightening bent race cars and building new front clips and stuff like that. It was great. Later on, I moved into a big table jig, which was way better because then you could actually place the suspension and the tires and the body on, and you still couldn't get a true ride height, but if you put a couple of times we put boxes or metal across the front of the table so that it blocked the view of the table, so you could visualize from there up and kind of get an idea of ride heights and stuff like that. But yeah, as soon as Ryan gets done with his truck, I'm sure he's going to get back on the Vet. I can't wait to see that thing moving along. It's going to be great. And I'll show more videos of my projects as I go along. And we're getting here about 8 o'clock, so I guess we'll go ahead and start wrapping up. I'm thinking I'm gonna go ahead and stay on the same program for the next 2 shows till we hit our next 3 shows till we hit 30. And then after 30, I think I'm gonna go ahead and move everything back. On the community page on the homepage on YouTube, there's a couple polls on there for you guys that haven't been on it. You ought to go there. I think we're going to go ahead and move this back to 7, and maybe it'd just be a shorter show. We'd just try to go 7 to 8. That way, when my wife gets off work, we can go and have dinner and all that stuff, and 7 will give me a little bit more time because I having to knock off at about 4:30 and try to scramble to get the show ready. So another 15 minutes to a half hour would be great. I could work till 5 and then do that. I see Bill's left a comment. Sunday's weather is going to be real good in Orlando. Right now, time is running out. I'm planning on going. If you can come over, I really appreciate it. We would head out Saturday. Yes. As far as I know, that's the week after next. You're talking the 27th and the 28th, right? Because today is the 17th. So we have this weekend and then the following weekend. So, yes, Bill, if you can, I don't know if there's anything going on the 21st or the 20th, and I'm not sure what I've got going on yet. But the 28th, I was already planning on going, because I mean, if we want to follow the rules of sick week, I really can't. Although I don't know how they determine computer work, but I know this weekend, okay. I don't know how they determine that, but I guess they say non-participants aren't allowed to work on the vehicles. But I know Dawn's getting really good at uploading and downloading, so I know we can do remote. They won't say anything about that. So I was definitely planning on being there Sunday for the first day, or the tech day, in case you got some runs in. Oh, my wife's home. But yeah, Bill, this Sunday there's a possibility I might be able to make that up there. I'll work on that. I'll have to talk to the wife and go from there. But that's definitely a possibility, and it'd be good. It'd give you another weekend. So. Oh, Sunday is not. Yeah, this Sunday is not sick week, but they are going to have a test and tune on Sunday, right? Thanks, John. I love giving the information out. I don't want to take it with me. I want it to be out there. But Bill, on Sunday the 28th, are they having a test and tune on the day that they're doing tech for sick week? Am I not right about that? Yes. Okay. And you're planning on maybe trying to do some testing on that Sunday? So we'll see how everything goes. I mean, I'm definitely down for whatever. I talked to Leo, little Atlas 4200 update, and he's waiting for good weather and would prefer not to do a private test session. So we'll see how that goes. I think February, like the 25th or something, it's way away, will be the next time we get to run that car. It's kind of driving me crazy that we can't do something sooner, but it is what it is. And then, of course, I'll put it out there now, and we'll put it out every show between now and then. February 11th through 18th, I'll be on a family cruise, so we will not have a live show that week, although I will put something up for people that don't know. And that way people can log in and they still see something. Bill says, if we get through tech line and the weather is good, they usually let you make some passes. Okay. So we'll see how that goes. We'll play that by ear, but I definitely I was going to go up anyway, because I was going to, now that Lutz is going to be running Mad Max at sick week, I was going to go up and say hi. I haven't seen him in a couple of years. We used to race together in NMCA way back in the day before he became a TV personality. So I seen him a couple of years ago, and we had a couple of good laughs. So I'd like to go up and run into him anyway. So we'll see how it all goes, how it all pans out. We'll all come up in the air, but I will reach out to you this week, Bill, on about Sunday, and it'd be great if we can, because then we'd have some video and some data log work we could do on the live show for Tuesday. So that'd be awesome. Some more content. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and say goodnight to everybody. Thank you for everybody getting on the chat and making this a good communication between everybody. A good bench race, a good bench racing session. keeps me from having to come up with things to talk about for a complete hour, because I usually don't have anything. So, yeah, wheels up, Bill. So, all right, guys. Well, appreciate it. And everybody have a good rest of the week. And fingers crossed, no rain in Orlando for Sunday. Bill and I need to get some laps on that car. So, everybody give us a non-rain dance. Say a piece to the man upstairs, to the racing gods, whoever it is, whatever it takes. No rain for Sunday. So I appreciate it, guys. I'll talk to you all later.